Bra sizes famous celebrities, the results will shock you. Old Hollywood wasn't just known for its legendary talent, it was a golden age of beauty, elegance, and unforgettable screen presence. Actresses like Sophia Loren, Cassandra Peterson weren't only admired for their powerful performances, but also for their striking curves and timeless allure. Their figures became part of their mystique, helping shape the glamorous image of classic cinema. From classic portraits to red carpet moments, join us as we revisit the dazzling stars, whose curves and charisma still turn heads decades later. Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian, widely known as the Queen of Curves, continues to turn heads in 2025, not just for her powerhouse business empire, but also for her iconic 34-36 size bust, estimated to fall within the full C to low D cup range. Though the viral image labels her at 32 DD, in real-world sizing, her proportions, enhanced by her petite waist and hourglass silhouette, suggest a figure closer to a 36C or 34D, according to celebrity stylists and media reports. Her chest has long been a focal point of fashion campaigns, red carpet moments, and public fascination, but Kim's appeal goes far beyond measurements. She once declared, "You can be sexy and still be smart," a quote that sums up her bold confidence and dual identity as both a bombshell and a brand mogul. From her Skims shapewear line to her criminal justice reform work, Kim has reshaped what it means to be a celebrity in the modern era. Whether she's making headlines in couture or pushing for social change, Kim's figure, especially her famously full bust, remains a visual symbol of feminine empowerment and control in a world that once told women to hide both their brains and bodies. Before we dive in, let us know, where are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments below. Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton's 40 DDD figure is instantly recognizable, but it's only one part of what makes her an American legend. Known for her sparkling personality, sky-high hair, and signature curves, Dolly has never been shy about her looks, but she's always made sure the world knows there's a brilliant mind and an even bigger heart behind the glamour. With a music career spanning over 60 years, she's won 9 Grammy Awards and written over 3,000 songs, including the classic "I Will Always Love You." Her version was heartfelt, but it was Whitney Houston's take that made it a global anthem, bringing Dolly both fame and fortune. Despite her jaw-dropping $650 million empire, she's famously humble. "I always count my blessings more than I count my money," she once told Country Living. Dolly turned down Playboy's offer to pose nude, yet in 1978 she gamely appeared on the cover in a bunny outfit, always playful, never compromising. She's a multi-instrumentalist, a shrewd entrepreneur, and a fierce philanthropist. Through her imagination library, she's given away over 200 million books to kids. Objectively, her bust has made headlines for decades. Subjectively, it's just part of a much bigger story, a woman who stayed true to her roots while changing the world with kindness, talent, and unapologetic style. Cassandra Peterson. Cassandra Peterson, forever known to fans as Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, built an empire out of camp, cleavage, and charisma. With her iconic plunging black gown and unmistakable 38D bust, she turned heads and shocked conservative TV sets across America. But Elvira wasn't just a costume, Cassandra was a pioneer. She created a brand that mixed gothic sex appeal with razor-sharp wit and self-parody, captivating audiences through her late-night horror hosting and cult classic film appearances. Underneath the vampy persona was a savvy businesswoman and performer who wrote, produced, and fought for creative control every step of the way. In recent years, Cassandra opened up about her private life in her memoir, Yours Cruelly, Elvira, revealing personal struggles and surprising fans by coming out after decades of public speculation. She once said, "I was the first horror host with cleavage and I made the most of it." Still vibrant and unapologetically bold in 2025, Cassandra Peterson remains a trailblazer, proving you can be sexy, smart, and spooky all at once. Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj is not just a rap icon, she's a living, breathing force of nature. With a voluptuous 34F bust that commands attention, Nicki owns every curve with unapologetic confidence. Her figure has sparked admiration and debate alike, often stealing the spotlight in music videos. Met Gala looks and magazine covers. But behind the curves is a woman who shattered the male-dominated rap world with her razor-sharp lyrics, fearless fashion, and global influence. She once said, "I'm not the next anyone. I'm the first Nicki Minaj." That same energy flows through every aspect of her image, from her bold style to her empowering lyrics. Fans praise her body for being both sensual and strong, a symbol of feminine dominance in a world that often demands women to shrink. Whether she's spitting bars or strutting down a runway in a skin-tight catsuit, Nicki's commanding bust is just one part of a larger message. She's in charge, and she always has been. In 2025, with motherhood, chart toppers, and a legacy still unfolding, Nicki Minaj proves that being larger than life isn't just about size, it's about presence, power, and purpose. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor wasn't just a movie star, she was Hollywood royalty. With a refined 36C bust and impossibly tiny waist, her hourglass silhouette defined sensuality for generations. Unlike today's digital glamour, Elizabeth's beauty was entirely her own, bold, feminine, and magnetic. She became a screen goddess in classics like Cleopatra, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, commanding attention not just with talent but with a body that moved with elegance and strength. Her décolletage, often showcased in stunning off-the-shoulder gowns, became a symbol of mid-century Hollywood allure. But Elizabeth was more than a bombshell. She was a two-time Oscar winner, a fearless activist for AIDS awareness, and a woman who lived unapologetically. She famously said, "Pour yourself a drink, put on some lipstick, and pull yourself together," a quote as fierce as her gaze. Known for her violet eyes and fiery romances, including 8 marriages, Taylor's life played out like an epic film, scandalous, glamorous, and deeply human. In 2025, her legacy still inspires, a reminder that beauty fades, but presence, especially one as powerful and sensual as Elizabeth Taylor's, is forever. Jennifer Coolidge. Jennifer Coolidge is living proof that charisma, curves, and comedic genius only get better with time. With a voluptuous 40D bust and statuesque frame, she brings old-school glamour with a hilarious twist. Her cleavage has made just as many appearances as her catchphrases, gracing red carpets and screen stills with unapologetic confidence. But Jennifer is far more than a buxom blonde. From Legally Blonde's Paulette the nail tech, to the sultry MILF in American Pie, and most recently as the Emmy-winning Tanya in The White Lotus, she's become a cult favorite and a late-blooming icon. Her timing is flawless, her delivery unforgettable, and her presence impossible to ignore. She once quipped, "I have to say I've had more fun being a curvy woman than I think I would have had if I'd been really thin," and it's that cheeky, self-aware spirit that audiences adore. In 2025, Jennifer Coolidge stands as a symbol of owning your body, your age, and your story, with laughter, cleavage, and a whole lot of charm. She's not just a scene stealer, she's a scene creator. Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson became a global sensation the moment she ran down the beach in that iconic red swimsuit. With her signature 36DD bust, she was the face and figure of Baywatch, turning heads and defining 1990s sex appeal like no one else. Her chest wasn't just admired, it was idolized, discussed, and imitated, helping cement her as one of the most recognized pin-up figures of all time. But Pamela is more than a busty blonde. Behind the glamorous curves lies a woman who's fierce, outspoken, and deeply committed to activism. A Playboy favorite, international model and actress, she later became a powerful voice for animal rights and environmental causes through her work with PETA. She once said, "My body is a work of art, but my soul is my legacy." And in recent years, especially with the release of her documentary Pamela, A Love Story, audiences have seen a more vulnerable, reflective side of her. In 2025, Pamela remains an icon, her 36DD curves still legendary, but her voice, honesty, and reinvention proving that true beauty is about more than what's on the surface. And Blake Lively. Blake Lively has always embodied that rare mix of elegance and sex appeal, and in 2025 she's still owning the spotlight. With a reported bust measurement of 35 inches and a 34C bra size, her naturally full chest has become one of her signature features, drawing admiration from fans and fashion insiders alike. Whether she's lighting up the red carpet in a plunging designer gown or photographed casually strolling through Manhattan, Blake's curves never go unnoticed. From her breakout role in Gossip Girl to leading performances in The Age of Adeline and A Simple Favor, she's proven herself as more than just a pretty face. A proud mum of 4 and a witty, unfiltered voice on social media, Blake once said, "I'm the kind of person who'd rather stay home in pajamas than go to a party, but I can work a red carpet like it's a runway." That's Blake, effortless, magnetic, and still very much a Hollywood heavyweight. But recently she's found herself at the center of some swirling rumors involving her husband Ryan Reynolds and a rumored fallout with one of her co-stars. Whispers of behind-the-scenes tension on a new project have made tabloid rounds, though Blake has remained characteristically silent and poised. Beyond the gossip, her legacy remains strong. Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera isn't just a pop star, she's a living evolution of glam, grit, and goddess energy. With her stunning 34D bust and signature bombshell silhouette, she's been commanding attention since the early 2000s, when she shed her teen pop image and embraced a raw, unapologetic femininity. Her body became a canvas of rebellion and self-expression, bold outfits, deep plunges, and corsets that celebrated her curves, never hiding them. But Christina's power isn't just in how she looks, it's in how she sings. With hits like Beautiful, Fighter, and Candyman, she didn't just top charts, she gave voice to self-worth and personal transformation. Her performance presence has always matched her figure, strong, commanding, and impossible to ignore. Christina once said, "Confidence is the key. Sometimes you just have to fake it until you make it." And that philosophy helped turn her into an enduring icon. Scarlett Johansson. Scarlett Johansson, with her striking 32D figure, has long been regarded as one of Hollywood's most alluring and talented actresses. Her curves, especially her bust, have drawn widespread attention, not just for their fullness, but for how effortlessly she blends glamour with grit. Known as the face of Black Widow in the Marvel Universe and acclaimed for dramatic roles in films like Marriage Story and Lost in Translation, Scarlett has proven she's far more than just a pretty face. Her bust has even sparked debates in the media about body image in Hollywood, to which she once confidently responded, "I'm curvy, I'm proud of it." Objectively, her proportions are rare and aesthetically admired, but subjectively it's her charisma, poise, and voice, often called seductive and smoky, that make her presence magnetic. With multiple Golden Globe nominations and a well-earned place on Forbes' highest-paid actress list, Scarlett continues to be both a style icon and a symbol of modern femininity, bold, intelligent, and unafraid to own her body and her story. Christina Hendricks. Christina Hendricks, famously known for her jaw-dropping 38DDD figure, redefined what it meant to be curvy in modern television. Her voluptuous bust has always stood out, not just for its sheer size, but for how powerfully it enhanced her iconic role as Joan Holloway in Mad Men. With her fiery red hair and vintage hourglass silhouette, Christina became an instant symbol of classic beauty and strength. Her bust, often called unreal by fans and fashion critics alike, sparked both admiration and controversy, especially in an era obsessed with ultra-thin figures. But Christina never shied away. "I was never trying to be shocking or provocative," she said. "I just wore what made me feel confident." That confidence turned her into a red carpet sensation and a role model for body positivity. Objectively, her proportions are rare and dramatically eye-catching. Subjectively, they've helped her stand out in an industry that often prizes uniformity. With multiple Emmy nominations and widespread acclaim for her acting chops, Christina Hendricks continues to prove that real curves and real talent are a truly irresistible combination. Do you think actresses with more traditionally sexy figures have to work harder to be taken seriously in Hollywood? Comment yes, if you believe Hollywood still judges actresses more by their looks than their talent, or no, if you think the industry has moved beyond that. Don't forget to tell us why you feel that way in the comments. Salma Hayek. Salma Hayek, with her natural 32DD figure, has long been celebrated not just for her undeniable beauty, but for her commanding presence in Hollywood. Her curves have sparked headlines and admiration for decades, But it's her confidence, talent, and trailblazing spirit that truly define her. Born in Mexico and rising to fame with roles in films like Frida, for which she earned an Academy Award nomination, Hayek has shattered barriers for Latina actresses in the industry. Her bust has often drawn attention, not only for its fullness, but for how gracefully she carries it, becoming a symbol of sensuality and strength. She once said, "People have the wrong idea about me being sexy, it's just how I move, how I speak." That quiet confidence has turned her into a fashion icon and role model. Industry insiders and fans alike often note how she's aged with extraordinary elegance, with many calling her one of the most beautiful women in the world at any age. Objectively, her proportions are rare, and subjectively, she owns them with a grace that makes her unforgettable. Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump, with her elegant 36D figure, has long been a symbol of polished glamour blended with political and business ambition. Her appearance often draws attention, particularly her poised, fashion-forward presence, but Ivanka is equally known for her influential roles in business and politics. As the daughter of President Donald Trump, she stepped into the spotlight early, but carved her own space as a successful entrepreneur, fashion executive, and later as a senior advisor at the White House. Her bust size has occasionally become a topic in the tabloids, but she's never leaned into it for publicity. Her image has always leaned more toward professional elegance than overt sensuality. It's her calm demeanor, calculated image, and ability to navigate high-stakes environments that have earned both admiration and criticism. Whether she's walking a runway or representing American interests on the world stage, Ivanka's composed confidence speaks louder than any headline. She once said, "There's nothing wrong with being glamorous if you can back it up with substance." And that perfectly sums up the woman behind the image on Sophia Loren. Sophia Loren wasn't just one of the most beautiful women of old Hollywood, she was a force of nature. With a famously full 38-inch bust and a figure that defined classic glamour, she became an international sensation. But Sophia was more than just curves and camera flashes. Born in 1934 in Naples, she rose to stardom with raw talent and unshakable determination. Her breakout performance in Two Women earned her an Academy Award, the first ever given to a foreign language role, and she followed it with unforgettable turns in Marriage Italian Style, Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow, and many more. Her beauty was undeniable, but her passion and screen presence were what made her unforgettable. Throughout her career, she collected dozens of awards and global honors, but she always carried herself with grace and humility. Even today, Sophia remains a living legend. She once said, "Everything you see I owe to spaghetti," with a wink, but make no mistake, behind that charm was one of the sharpest, strongest women Hollywood ever knew. Jane Mansfield. Jane Mansfield, with her legendary 40D bust, was one of the most unforgettable sex symbols of the 1950s and early 60s. Her voluptuous figure was a major part of her image, often showcased in daring gowns and playful poses that challenged the conservative norms of her time. But behind the bombshell persona was a woman of surprising depth, fluent in 5 languages and a classical violinist. Mansfield skyrocketed to fame with roles in films like The Girl Can't Help It and Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter, where her exaggerated curves and flirtatious charm made her a media darling. Objectively, her bust was extraordinary for the era, often compared to Marilyn Monroe's, but arguably even more dramatic. Subjectively, it became a symbol of both empowerment and exploitation, depending on who you asked. She once said, "A 40-inch bust and a lot of perseverance will get you more than a cup of coffee, a lot more." Though her life was tragically cut short at age 34 in a fatal car crash, Jane Mansfield's bold image and Hollywood legacy live on as a timeless reminder of glamour, guts, and the power of personality. Katy Perry. Katy Perry, with her striking 32F bust and unstoppable energy, has become one of the most recognizable pop icons of the 21st century. While her curves have always drawn media attention, Katy has never let the noise define her. "I don't care what they say about my boobs. People are buying my songs. I have a sold-out tour," she once said with her signature confidence. That fearless attitude is exactly why fans love her. With over 100 million records sold, 5 American Music Awards, 5 Billboard Music Awards, and a Brit Award under her belt, she's earned her place as one of the top-selling artists of all time. Her bright, bold music videos and infectious melodies have shaped pop culture for over a decade. But Katy's influence stretches far beyond music. She's been named one of Time magazine's most influential people and has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. As a judge on American Idol, she's brought humor, honesty, and heart to a new generation of talent. "If you're presenting yourself with confidence, you can pull off pretty much anything," she once said. And she proves that every time she steps on stage. Katy Perry is talent, style, and self-assurance all rolled into one. Jessica Simpson. Jessica Simpson's 34D bust has long been part of her signature look, bold, feminine, and unmistakably glamorous. But what's truly remarkable is how she's turned public attention into power. Bursting onto the music scene in the late 90s with powerhouse vocals and girl-next-door charm, she quickly became a pop icon. Her role on Newlyweds made her America's sweetheart, even as the media often focused more on her body than her talent. Still, Jessica held her own. She once said, "I'm not going to let people make me feel bad about how I look," and she meant it. Objectively, her bust drew plenty of attention in the fashion and tabloid world, but subjectively, she used her image to fuel an empire, literally. The Jessica Simpson collection grew into a billion-dollar brand, making her one of the most successful celebrity entrepreneurs in the world. Through ups and downs, she's remained unapologetically herself, sharing her raw truth in her memoir, Open Book, and proving that behind the glam and curves is a woman with grit, talent, and business smarts to spare. Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney, with her stunning 34D figure and old Hollywood glamour, has quickly become one of the most talked-about stars of her generation. Her curves, especially her bust, have drawn plenty of attention, both celebrated by fans and dissected by tabloids. But Sydney carries it all with confidence and class. She once poked fun at the chatter, saying, "Sorry for having great boobs and correct opinions," turning the spotlight into a statement of self-empowerment. Best known for her breakout roles in Euphoria and The White Lotus, Sweeney has proven she's not just a pretty face, she's a powerhouse performer with serious acting chops. Her characters are often raw, vulnerable, and emotionally intense, showing a range well beyond her years. Objectively, her bust adds to her striking screen presence, but subjectively, it's her bold spirit, sharp mind, and refusal to be boxed in that make her so compelling. She's even started her own production company to create stronger roles for women. Sydney Sweeney is part bombshell, part visionary, and all in on reshaping what power and beauty look like in today's Hollywood. Amber Smith. Amber Smith, boasting a stunning 36D bust and a timeless, statuesque beauty, was one of the most recognizable faces in the modeling world during the 90s. Her curves made her a natural fit for the covers of Playboy, FHM, and Maxim. But it was her confident presence and striking features that truly set her apart. Known for blending sex appeal with elegance, Amber also transitioned into acting with ease, landing roles in acclaimed films like LA Confidential and guest spots on TV. Yet what makes her journey truly remarkable is her courage off-screen. In the 2000s, she opened up publicly about her struggles with addiction on Celebrity Rehab, showing raw vulnerability and a desire to grow beyond the glam. Amber Smith is more than just a model with unforgettable curves. She's a woman who's faced life's hardest chapters with grit, grace, and the courage to be real. Alexandra Daddario. Alexandra Daddario's 34D bust has been a head-turner from the start, but it's the way she carries herself with quiet confidence and magnetic poise that makes her unforgettable. Her breakout moment in True Detective drew massive attention for its raw intensity and boldness, with fans and critics alike stunned by her fearlessness on screen. But Alexandra didn't stop there. She went on to star in blockbuster hits like San Andreas and Baywatch, bringing both beauty and grit to action-heavy roles. Her icy blue eyes and perfectly proportioned figure often dominate red carpets. But off-camera, she's thoughtful, grounded, and refreshingly real. "Confidence is key," she once said, and she proves that every time she steps in front of the camera. Whether she's stealing a scene or just walking into a room, Alexandra Daddario commands attention. And not just for her looks, but for the strength and soul behind them. All right, here's your turn to weigh in on a scale from 1 to 10. How important do you think physical beauty is to a woman's success in Hollywood? Be honest, and drop your number in the comments. Cara Delevingne. Cara Delevingne, with her bold 36D bust and fierce runway presence, is a woman who defies every box Hollywood tries to put her in. Known for her chiseled brows, magnetic stare, and striking curves, Cara's figure, especially her full bust, adds undeniable power to her already commanding look. Rising to fame as one of fashion's top supermodels, she walked for Chanel, Burberry, and Victoria's Secret before pivoting into acting with raw, edgy performances in films like Paper Towns and Suicide Squad. Cara's appeal isn't just physical, it's electric. Objectively, her bust balances her statuesque frame with glamour and confidence. Subjectively, she radiates fearlessness, breaking taboos around sexuality, identity, and mental health. She once said, "Embrace your weirdness, face your fears, love deeply." That sums her up perfectly, unfiltered, unafraid, and unapologetically herself. Whether she's in couture or casual wear, Cara Delevingne owns every room she walks into, not just with beauty, but with bold authenticity. Sofía Vergara. Sofía Vergara's stunning 32DD bust has long been one of her most talked about features, but it's her wit, charm, and relentless drive that have truly defined her. Bursting onto American TV with her unforgettable role as Gloria in Modern Family, she brought a unique blend of beauty, comedy, and charisma that quickly made her a fan favorite. Her curves, especially her bust, have graced countless red carpets, often stealing the spotlight with glamorous gowns that showcase her hourglass silhouette. But Sofía isn't just a pretty face. She's a savvy businesswoman, landing Forbes' list of highest-paid actresses for years and building an empire that includes fashion, beauty, and branding deals. Objectively, her figure has become iconic in pop culture. Subjectively, it's her bold personality and confidence that leave a lasting impression. She once said, "I've never really been insecure about the way I look." And that self-assurance radiates in everything she does. With her radiant smile and larger-than-life energy, Sofía Vergara remains one of Hollywood's most magnetic and empowering stars. Kate Upton. Kate Upton, with her iconic 32DD bust and radiant confidence, didn't just walk into the modeling world, she shook it up. At a time when the runway was dominated by waif-like figures, Kate's curves made headlines and redefined beauty standards overnight. Her bust became a signature feature, especially when she graced the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue cover, instantly turning her into a global sensation. But she was never just about looks. Kate brought humor, intelligence, and personality to every project, whether in front of the camera or on a movie set. "I'm happy with my body," she said. And that message of body positivity resonated with millions. With her signature smile, natural charm, and bold self-assurance, Kate Upton became more than a model. She became a modern-day icon of strength, sex appeal, and confidence. Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish, with her dramatic 42E bust and ever-evolving style, has become one of the most compelling young icons in music today. Known early on for her oversized clothes and rebellious edge, Billie shocked the world when she chose to showcase her curves, especially her full bust, in a 2021 Vogue cover shoot. That moment became a statement of reclaiming power over her own image. Objectively, her bust size is rare and striking, commanding attention in every appearance. A multiple Grammy winner before the age of 20, Billie sings with haunting vulnerability, writing songs that explore fame, fear, and emotional depth with raw honesty. "My body is mine and yours is yours," she said, drawing a clear line between judgment and empowerment. Whether she's wearing a baggy hoodie or a vintage corset, Billie Eilish is redefining what it means to be bold, beautiful, and in total control of your narrative. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe remains the ultimate symbol of classic Hollywood seduction, an icon whose beauty, curves, and charisma have never faded. Her voluptuous 36D figure wasn't just admired, it helped define the very image of the mid-century bombshell. With a smile that lit up the screen and a body that turned heads around the world, Monroe became a sensation in films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, The 7-Year Itch, and Some Like It Hot. But behind the radiant charm was a woman battling deep emotional pain, caught between the glare of fame and the shadows of insecurity. Her tragic death at just 36 left the world reeling and gave rise to decades of speculation and myth. Yet Marilyn's legacy only grew stronger. Her style, especially that unforgettable white dress, blowing in the breeze, remains etched into pop culture history. "I don't mind living in a man's world as long as I can be a woman in it," she once said. Bold, unfiltered, and timeless. Marilyn Monroe wasn't just a sex symbol, she was a woman who reshaped the image of femininity with both sensuality and soul. Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly has always been impossible to ignore, whether she's lighting up the screen with her unforgettable voice and killer curves, or dominating the poker table with razor-sharp skill. Best known for her role as the sultry, psychotic Tiffany Valentine in the Child's Play franchise, her 34D figure and flirtatious energy became central to the character's iconic status in horror. Tilly's voluptuous presence isn't just for show, it's part of a magnetic persona she fully embraces. With her signature humor, she once said, "I love sex scenes. Who wouldn't love sex scenes? It's an opportunity to get naked and fool around with somebody that's not your partner." Off-screen, she's just as daring. Jennifer made poker history by becoming the first celebrity to win a World Series of Poker bracelet. Even then, she couldn't escape her charms, being the talk of the table. Laughing, everyone had a nickname. Mine couldn't be Jennifer the Boob Tilly. But behind the laughs is a brilliant mind and a career that spans decades, awards, and reinventions. From acting to poker, Jennifer Tilly proves she's more than a bombshell. She's a powerhouse wrapped in sequins and sass. Kat Dennings. Kat Dennings has always embraced her curves with confidence, and in 2025 she's still one of Hollywood's most unapologetically voluptuous stars. With a famously full bust, reportedly measuring around 38 dd, Kat became a fan favorite not just for her figure, but for the wit, sarcasm, and no-nonsense attitude she brings to every role. She first broke out in Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, but it was her hilarious turn as Max in Two Broke Girls that made her a household name. Kat's sharp humor, paired with her bombshell appearance, created a screen presence that was impossible to ignore. Off-screen, she's just as magnetic, quirky, honest, and refreshingly self-aware. She's also been in the headlines recently after teasing a mysterious new comedy project and making rare but impactful appearances on social media. Once asked about her curves, she simply said, "I was born this way and I've learned to love every inch." That's classic Kat witty, real and proudly herself. Whether she's delivering a punchline or making a low-key style statement, she continues to turn heads and win hearts. The courtroom stillness was broken as Mike Wolfe, once a beloved figure on American television, erupted in anger upon hearing his life sentence. His journey from searching for antiques to this grim outcome was beyond imagining. Wolfe, known from American Pickers, was found guilty of playing a role in the death of his previous partner, Frank Fritz. The sound of the prison door closing marked the end as he delivered a haunting farewell. Recalling his past, Wolfe spoke of the deep connections he had forged over the past 13 years with his team, viewing them as a second family. He felt immense gratitude for their belief in him and the opportunity they provided. But amidst these reflections, a sense of betrayal and failure surfaced, lamenting that he took everything from me. I was the one who built American Pickers. The startling news from America stunned countless individuals across the globe. The image of Wolfe, a well-known figure, being escorted away in handcuffs, seemed almost unreal. At first, many speculated that the arrest was tied to some internal conflict within the antiques community, or perhaps a bitter business fallout with the History Channel. But as the story began to unfold, it became clear that the truth was far more complex and far more shocking than anyone could have anticipated. As the layers of this shocking story peeled away, the unsettling reality came to light. Wolfe was reportedly linked to the tragic death of Frank Fritz. Just days after Fritz's passing, Wolfe took to Instagram, seemingly expressing sorrow. His post read, "I am heartbroken to hear of Frank's passing. I have known Frank for more than half my life, and what you saw on TV is what we had in real life. He was a special person. Rest in peace, my friend." The heartfelt message seemed like a sincere tribute at first, but it quickly became clear that there was far more beneath the surface of this emotional farewell, something much darker and more complicated. Wolf was soon revealed as the prime suspect in Fritz's death, turning what was once perceived as a sorrowful post into something far more sinister. We'd love to hear from you. Drop your hometown in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. Initially, Frank Fritz's death was attributed to complications from a stroke. Medical reports revealed he had been battling cerebrovascular disease and aortic stenosis, serious conditions that can wreak havoc on blood circulation. But as investigators dug deeper, questions started to arise, casting a shadow of suspicion over the official cause and raising doubts about whether his death was truly a natural one. A crucial piece of evidence dramatically altered the investigation's trajectory. Investigators uncovered an empty pill bottle in Frank Fritz's home, which contained faint fingerprints that were traced back to Wolf. This discovery led to a DNA analysis, and the results shattered the initial assumptions. It was confirmed that Fritz's death was not from natural causes, but a premeditated murder, turning the entire case on its head and exposing a chilling new reality behind what was once believed to be a tragic accident. A follow-up medical report revealed that Frank Fritz had alarmingly high levels of fentanyl, a potent opioid painkiller, in his system, levels far exceeding what would be considered safe. This discovery raised immediate red flags, especially since fentanyl wasn't included in his prescribed medications. Given Fritz's well-documented medical history and his tightly regulated treatment plan, the likelihood of him self-medicating seemed virtually impossible. This unexpected finding deepened the mystery, suggesting that something far more sinister had been at play in his death. Authorities swiftly focused on those who had been closest to Frank Fritz in his final moments. As the investigation advanced, a key witness from the American Pickers crew came forward with crucial details, guiding police to the location where Fritz's body was discovered. Alongside this, incriminating text messages from Wolf to Fritz surfaced, further deepening the suspicion surrounding his involvement. The final blow came with the confirmation of Wolf's fingerprints on the pill bottle, cementing his role in the tragic events. The prosecution made their stance clear. This wasn't a case of reckless mistake or heat-of-the-moment violence. They claimed it was a deliberate, pre-planned killing fueled by jealousy and personal ambition. For viewers who once dismissed the tension between Wolf and Fritz as clever publicity to keep American Pickers relevant, the truth hit like a punch to the gut. The beloved show about dusty barns and hidden treasures had been forever stained by a real-life story of deceit, rivalry, and murder. Mike Wolf was a regular visitor at Frank Fritz's home, giving him easy access without drawing attention. During the trial, it was revealed that fentanyl was found in Fritz's system, an unsettling detail that matched Wolf's internet search history, raising serious suspicions. Investigators uncovered chilling search history on Wolf's device's queries about untraceable poisons and how to mimic the symptoms of a stroke. These weren't just idle curiosities, they pointed directly to premeditation. The toxicology report revealed fentanyl levels in Frank Fritz's system that were alarmingly high, far beyond what could be explained by any prescribed treatment, especially considering his known medical vulnerabilities and tightly controlled care plan. Combined with Wolf's unrestricted access to Fritz and his digital trail of incriminating research, the case took a sinister turn. What initially appeared to be a tragic medical emergency began to look more like a calculated assassination. The autopsy didn't just raise eyebrows, it provided enough disturbing evidence to prompt Iowa State Police to reopen the case, this time under the shadow of murder. At the center of the new investigation stood Mike Wolf, no longer just a bystander but the primary suspect in what now appeared to be a carefully orchestrated act of betrayal. Authorities quietly launched a covert operation, retracing the last interactions Fritz had, zeroing in on Wolf with an intensity that suggested they believed the truth was far darker than anyone had suspected. What the detectives discovered shocked even the most seasoned detectives. Security footage from Fritz's quiet neighborhood accidentally captured a crucial clue. Wolf's car had appeared at Fritz's home late at night, just 3 hours before the emergency call was made. That moment, when the neighborhood was dark and everyone was asleep, raised suspicions, especially given the strained relationship between the two at the time. It was Mike Wolfe who dialed 911, and his voice trembled with urgency. He claimed he had just discovered Fritz, unresponsive and lifeless. On the surface, it sounded like the desperate cry of someone who had stumbled upon a tragedy. But as the investigation unfolded, that call began to feel less like a cry for help and more like a carefully crafted performance. Could it have been a premeditated attempt to plant himself as the concerned friend, while quietly steering the story in his favor? The more authorities replayed the call, the more it raised chilling questions. Was Mike trying to report a death or direct the scene of one? When emergency crews arrived, Mike Wolfe looked utterly shattered, shaking, weeping, the picture of grief. But that raw emotion didn't quite match what followed. Witnesses and investigators noticed something odd. As soon as Frank Fritz was officially declared dead, Mike's demeanor subtly shifted. That's when the mask seemed to crack. Behind the tears was a man who may have known too much and used it. Armed with intimate knowledge of Frank's health issues, Mike may have exploited those vulnerabilities to craft a crime scene that would mislead even seasoned investigators. It wasn't just tragic, it was disturbingly calculated. Given his close relationship with Fritz, Wolfe would have known every detail of his declining health, especially the prior stroke and the looming risk of cardiac issues. That kind of knowledge wasn't just personal, it was potentially tactical. The decision to administer fentanyl, a drug notorious for its potency, seems anything but random. Its symptoms could easily mimic or worsen the signs of a stroke, blurring the lines between foul play and natural causes. What's unsettling is how precisely everything was staged. Fritz's body placement, the timing, even the surrounding clues all pointed toward a quiet death from illness. Nothing felt out of place, and maybe that was the most suspicious part of all. Wolfe, who had been by Fritz's side for years, knew his vulnerabilities all too well, especially his history of strokes and suspected heart issues. That intimate knowledge made fentanyl a chillingly strategic option. Its symptoms could mimic a stroke or trigger a fatal one, blurring the lines between accident and intention. Nothing about the scene was random. From the way Fritz was found to the faintest trace of evidence, every detail appeared crafted to point toward a natural demise. If this was murder, it was staged with unsettling precision. The real shock came not from Fritz's death, but from what happened right after. Wolfe didn't pause to grieve. Instead, he acted with eerie urgency. Within just 48 hours, he was in a lawyer's office pushing to gain control of Fritz's name and image for future business ventures. Even more suspicious, he somehow located Fritz's private storage spots, places filled with rare collectibles the public had never seen. How did he know where to look, and why the rush? For many, his actions felt less like loss and more like a calculated move. Things spiraled further when the contents of Fritz's will were made public. To the shock of many, every cent of his nearly $6 million estate had been left to Mike Wolfe. The news spread fast, and so did the outrage. Friends felt blindsided, fans were baffled, and Fritz's father, William, was outraged. As Frank's only living relative, William couldn't stay silent. He filed a legal challenge, demanding the will be examined. From his perspective, it didn't add up. Why would a man in poor health, estranged from the spotlight, leave everything to a friend with no mention of family? The move felt abrupt, suspicious, and for some, even calculated. When the legal battle erupted, Wolfe wasted no time. He lawyered up fast, claiming he was only defending what Fritz had wanted, but rather than clearing the air, his swift reaction stirred up even more suspicion. Was he truly honoring Fritz's last wishes, or was he racing to secure the inheritance before anyone could challenge it? At the heart of the storm lies one chilling question. Did Frank Fritz truly have the mental clarity to grasp and willingly sign his will? If the original will had remained uncontested, Mike Wolfe stood to inherit a fortune, an outcome that stirred suspicions of exploitation and cunning influence, just as prosecutors had warned in court. But standing firmly on the other side is William Fritz, determined to shield his late son's memory. In his eyes, there's no way Frank would have knowingly handed everything over to Wolfe, not after the strain and growing distance that clouded their final years. The question lingers. Was this inheritance truly Frank's wish or someone else's design? Wolf's cold precision in his moves suggests something far darker. Perhaps he no longer saw Fritz as an ally, but as dead weight standing in his way. His private journals, laced with unsettling confessions, hint at a brewing resentment. Phrases filled with anger and a disturbing obsession with removing Fritz from the picture entirely. Was it ambition, jealousy, a hunger for full control of the spotlight? Whatever the motive, the sequence of events surrounding Fritz's untimely end only deepens the shadows. Coincidence feels less and less likely. Wolf reportedly arrived at Fritz's home late one evening, triggering a frantic 911 call and a wave of distress. The coroner's report, however, presented unsettling contradictions that cast doubt on Wolf's story. Investigators later uncovered ominous search patterns on Wolf's devices and unsettling diary entries, hinting at a hidden motive. Shortly after Fritz's death, authorities searched Wolf's residence and office, where they unearthed a concealed safe stocked with unlabeled prescription bottles, an unnerving find that further fueled speculation. The findings from the laboratory analysis were startling, as the contents of the discovered safe corresponded with the toxins identified within Fritz's system. Yet the most alarming discovery was the content of Wolf's private journal, which exposed a sinister aspect of his character, starkly contrasting with his publicly perceived amiable personal. Those private journals allegedly went beyond trivial spats, exposing a festering grudge against Fritz. They reached a chilling climax mere weeks before his demise, when Wolf reportedly penned this unsettling line: "Without me, this program would not exist. He has become a burden. Now there is only one way for me to protect what I have built." Whether that ominous note hinted at a secret plan or was mere frustration remains pure conjecture. These words are not the mere exasperation of a colleague, but the sign of coldly calculated intentions. They reflect a selfishness and an obsession with power and prestige that Wolf no longer sees Fritz as a person, but simply as an obstacle to be eliminated. When the truth is revealed and Wolf is brought to justice, the diary entries become colder and more terrifying than ever, evidence that this was not a spontaneous act, but a premeditated plan. On a scale from 1 to 10, how shocked or emotional were you by Mike Wolf's actions and the revelations about his relationship with Frank Fritz? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us know what you think about the entire situation. The trial of Mike Wolf, a highly publicized event that gripped the nation, stretched over 6 nail-biting weeks. The prosecution meticulously constructed a compelling argument, presenting a chain of undeniable facts that slowly unveiled the circumstances surrounding Frank Fritz's passing. The medical examiner's findings indicated that a deadly amount of fentanyl, a substance not prescribed to Fritz, was present in his system, directly challenging the preliminary conclusion that death resulted from stroke-related issues. Further incriminating Wolf, his online search history exposed a plot, revealing his research into untraceable poisons and techniques for orchestrating a death to appear as a stroke. As the investigation progressed, law enforcement uncovered a hidden safe at Wolf's residence and workplace, which contained unmarked medication vials. Subsequent analysis revealed a shocking truth. The vials held the same toxin responsible for Fritz's death, a revelation that reverberated around the world. The most damning discovery, however, was the vitriol-filled entries in Wolf's personal journal. Here, he not only expressed his deep resentment towards Fritz, but also articulated his desire to eliminate him entirely. Adding to the evidence, security camera footage presented in court depicted Wolf's vehicle arriving at Fritz's home late in the evening, merely hours before the distress call was placed. This directly contradicted Wolf's statements and cast serious doubt on his account. Moreover, his behavior in the wake of Fritz's death, his calculated efforts to swiftly acquire assets and intellectual property, reinforced the prosecution's claim that Wolf had acted with deliberate intent and premeditation. Wolf's internet browsing history also revealed disturbing questions, including: can drug interactions mimicking stroke symptoms be identified post-mortem? And how to make a death appear to be caused by stroke complications. The evidence strongly suggests that Wolf exploited Fritz's pre-existing health issues to create a seemingly natural cause of death and conceal his involvement. Testimonies from several former American pickers, cast members highlighted the increasing tension between Wolf and Fritz in the years leading up to his death. One production assistant, recounted witnessing intense disputes over the direction of the show, with Wolf consistently asserting his need for complete creative autonomy. She also recalled Wolf angrily telling Fritz that he was no longer entitled to equal compensation due to his declining health. One of the most shocking moments in the trial came when Danielle Colby, visibly shaken, took the stand in support of the prosecution. Hesitant but resolute, she recounted an intense confrontation with Wolf regarding his treatment of Fritz. "I could see Mike becoming increasingly fixated on controlling the public image of American pickers," she explained, her voice quivering with emotion. When she probed into Fritz's compensation, Wolf's demeanor shifted dramatically. He became irate and even issued a warning, telling her to stay out of matters that didn't concern her. Colby also uncovered unsettling notes about Fritz's medication regimen in Wolf's office, which only deepened her concerns. When she approached him about it, he dismissed her worries, claiming his focus was solely on Fritz's health. The defense team for Wolf attempted to portray him as a devoted friend who had wished to mend his relationship with Fritz before his untimely death. They presented testimonies from network executives who had allegedly voiced support for Fritz's rehabilitation. However, this strategy faltered when Fritz's personal physician testified that, despite his health challenges, Fritz remained optimistic about his future and even intended to launch his own antique business. Accumulating evidence from medical analyses, suspicious online queries, personal journals, and witness accounts constructed an overwhelming case against Wolf. The trial culminated in a verdict, bringing a shocking case to its conclusion. The testimony of Frank Fritz's physician, delivered under rigorous examination by the court, dealt a final, crushing blow to Mike Wolf's defense. The doctor firmly stated that he had never prescribed the lethal dose of the drug detected in Fritz's body. This detail effectively extinguished any remaining hope Wolf had of proving his innocence. When Wolf was directly confronted with the accusation of poisoning Fritz's drink, the calm demeanor he had maintained throughout the trial started to unravel. In a sudden surge of fury, he lashed out at the prosecutor, shouting, "You have no idea what it's like to create something from scratch," only to watch someone else take the credit and profit, all while flashing a smile for the cameras. "Everyone acts like he's just as crucial to the success of this show as I am." The eruption caught everyone off guard, prompting the defense team to immediately call for a recess. But the damage had been done. The jury later admitted that the outburst had significantly shifted their perspective during deliberations, revealing the deep-seated jealousy and resentment Wolf had carried for years, emotions that had remained hidden beneath his calm exterior. As the investigation deepened, evidence of Wolf's financial motives piled up, solidifying the case against him. Forensic accountants uncovered that just months before Fritz's death, Wolf had quietly reorganized his business affairs to ensure he would control Fritz's intellectual property if he were ever incapacitated or died. Even more damning, Wolf had taken out a $5 million life insurance policy, with his company named as the beneficiary should Fritz pass away. Prosecutors also revealed that Wolf had secretly moved over $2 million worth of precious antiques into a network of shell companies designed to hide his financial moves. The jury, after just 4 hours of deliberation, returned with a decisive verdict: guilty. The courtroom was thick with tension as the judge sentenced Wolf to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In a shocking moment, Wolf, who had held his calm throughout the trial, suddenly erupted. He leapt to his feet, shouting, "You don't understand. He wants to destroy everything. He wants to destroy my legacy." In a blind rage, he charged at the defense table, sending papers and glasses flying across the room. The courthouse police acted swiftly, but Wolf broke free, lunging toward the Fritz family, flailing wildly before he was finally restrained. Amid the pandemonium, Wolf's fury escalated. Grabbing an antique walking stick, a key piece of evidence in the case, he swung it wildly, striking one of the officers in the shoulder. "I built American pickers. This is my legacy," he yelled, even as 3 officers wrestled him to the floor. In the chaos, his gaze locked onto Danielle Colby, his longtime co-anchor. "Tell them the truth. Tell them who Frank really is," he snarled, desperation in his voice. But Colby, visibly shaken, only turned away, her tears streaming down her face as she silently ignored his plea. Court documents unveiled how Wolf systematically drove a wedge between the crew and Fritz, cultivating a divide so deep it seemed irreparable. Even as he was restrained, his fury didn't subside. He continued to yell, spewing venomous words that exposed unsettling truths about his ambitions. "I'm launching my own show," he raged. "He told me I was finished, that the network wanted him back." The admission stunned those in the courtroom, revealing the bitter personal and professional rivalries that had been brewing beneath the surface. Before Wolff was escorted from the courtroom, the judge addressed him with a severe tone. "You may present yourself as a protector of history and culture, but at your core, you are consumed by hatred and a relentless desire for dominance. Today, justice is served not only for Frank Fritz, but also for everyone who placed their faith in you." As the heavy prison doors closed behind him, Wolff's parting words lingered, leaving a chilling uncertainty. "Goodbye, everyone." Was this the desperate plea of a man confronting deserved consequences, or merely the final performance of a skilled deceiver? The answer to that question may forever remain elusive. The bond between Mike Wolff and Frank Fritz was the heart of American Pickers, the wildly popular reality TV series that captivated millions globally. The duo journeyed across America, scouring antique shops and hidden corners of small towns in pursuit of rare treasures, each one with its own intriguing story. On screen, their relationship appeared rock solid, built on mutual respect, a shared love for antiques, and playful exchanges that made their dynamic seem effortlessly enjoyable. However, beneath the surface, things weren't always as smooth as they appeared. The unique dynamic between the two men, with their differing approaches and knowledge, was a major draw for viewers. The show's appeal stemmed from their genuine interactions, including their minor disagreements, which became a trademark of American Pickers. Yet beneath the entertaining scenes and intense negotiations, the bond between Wolff and Fritz began to show signs of strain. The tension escalated over time, particularly after Fritz's absence following season 21. His significant health issues, encompassing heart and back problems, were a primary factor, preventing him from participating in the show. Moreover, diverging work ethics contributed to the widening gap between the two. Wolff increasingly asserted control over the show's direction and allegedly isolated Fritz by disparaging him to network executives, leaving Fritz feeling marginalized and unfairly treated. The shocking allegations against Mike Wolff sent shockwaves through the world of reality television, putting the future of American Pickers in serious jeopardy. The History Channel reacted swiftly, pulling all episodes featuring Wolff from their programming and issuing a statement, expressing their dismay and offering their deepest sympathies to the family of Frank Fritz. The fallout continued as major sponsors began withdrawing their financial support, leaving the fate of the show hanging in the balance. Simultaneously, the Fritz family has taken legal action, seeking to regain control of their collection of historical artifacts and the intellectual property rights connected to the show. They have publicly committed to protecting the legacy that Fritz helped to build, and are also pursuing legal recourse against the History Channel, alleging that they failed to adequately address Wolff's increasingly erratic and problematic conduct. Some experts in psychology have proposed that Mike Wolff may exhibit traits associated with narcissistic personality disorder, a condition that can be exacerbated by prolonged exposure to fame and public scrutiny. Dr. Robert Keller, a forensic psychologist who closely observed the trial, commented that while this doesn't excuse the defendant's actions, it provides insights into the contrast between a likable public persona and a manipulative nature. Individuals with narcissistic traits can appear charming and composed in public, while harboring deep-seated resentment and a compulsion to control others. Do you believe Mike Wolff truly betrayed Frank Fritz, or was this all a misunderstanding? Comment: yes, if you think it was a betrayal, or no, if you think otherwise. We'd love to hear your opinion. Fritz's exit from the show may have triggered deep-seated psychological wounds that had accumulated over time. A particularly disturbing aspect of the case is how Mike Wolff seemingly profited from his celebrity status. In the weeks following Fritz's passing, he used social media to express his sympathy, but also used the opportunity to promote memorial merchandise related to the show. This prompted prosecutor Sarah Donovan to argue during her closing statement that this case is not just about criminal behavior, but also about a deliberate act of deception against millions of viewers. The investigation revealed that over $1 million had been collected in Fritz's name, yet a significant portion of these funds were diverted into accounts managed by Wolf. Upon hearing the verdict, numerous dedicated viewers of American Pickers expressed feelings of shock and betrayal. Robert Jenkins, a longtime follower of the show, lamented, "We invited him into our living rooms each week, believing in his authenticity, only to discover that it was all an elaborate facade." Former associates of Wolf also distanced themselves, releasing startling statements and emphasizing the need to honor Fritz's memory. The American Pickers cast experienced a deep rift, with some maintaining their belief in Wolf's innocence while others were swayed by the compelling evidence against him. Danielle Colby, a prominent member of the show, sided with the prosecution and announced that she would be taking a break from her career in light of the tragic circumstances. She expressed her desire that despite everything, the legacy of preserving antiques and history that American Pickers once embodied could still endure. Despite Wolf's life sentence, the legacies of both men will endure, though in starkly contrasting ways. Frank Fritz will be remembered as a passionate and dedicated collector whose genuine love for antiques inspired countless individuals to appreciate the beauty of historical artifacts. His infectious smile and enthusiasm will forever remain in the hearts of his admirers. Conversely, Mike Wolf's legacy has suffered irreparable damage. Once considered a visionary in the world of antiques, his accomplishments are now eclipsed by acts of betrayal, greed, and an unpardonable crime. With Mike Wolf receiving a life sentence, the trial concluded, marking what many considered a just end for his crimes. However, the world of American Pickers and the broader landscape of American reality television have been irrevocably altered. The show, once seen as a symbol of respecting history and preserving America's unique heritage, now finds its image tainted by betrayal, violence, and the shocking revelations of the courtroom. Beneath the veneer of charm and a seemingly sincere love for antiques, a disturbing darkness has been revealed. One can't help but wonder if there are any further secrets lurking beneath the surface of this sensational case. These actresses were so much more than just beautiful faces. They had real talent, magnetic charm, and careers that left a lasting mark on cinema history. But it does raise an interesting question. Do stunning actresses have to work even harder to be taken seriously in Hollywood? Or does true talent always find its way to the top? We'd love to hear what you think. Drop your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation.